Paraguay, a nation full of diversity and beautiful landscapes. Tucked away in the heart of South America, this relatively small country spans around 406,752 square kilometers and has a population estimated to be around 7 million people. This nation has a pretty unusual history with a lot of bumps along the way, but I promise this story ends relatively well. Make sure you are subscribed and let's dive into Paraguay's unusual history. From ancient civilizations to colonial powers and independence struggles, this country's story is one of resilience. Its history stretches back thousands of years, with evidence of human presence dating as far back as 10,000 BCE. The Guaraní people, an indigenous group, inhabited these lands long before the arrival of European explorers. The first Europeans came in the 16th century, Spanish conquistadors led by Juan de Salazar, who with his brother became infamous for their slave-hunting expeditions, corruption and role in unleashing the Mapuche uprising of 1655 in Chile, but that is another story. The conquistadors arrived in what is now Asunción, the capital of Paraguay. The Spanish colonization brought with it cultural assimilation, but the Guaraní language and traditions endured, blending with European influences. For nearly 3 centuries, this land was under the influence of the mighty Spanish Empire, who sought to exploit the resources and establish control over the indigenous population. However, what makes Paraguay's colonial history unique is the blending of cultures rather than complete assimilation, a point we will go in further details later in this video. During the 17th and 18th centuries, the Jesuits established reducciones, or missions, in Paraguay. These missions were unique in their approach, combining Christian teachings with the preservation of indigenous cultures. The Guaraní people living in the missions embraced Catholicism while maintaining their own customs and traditions. Under Spanish colonial rule, Paraguayan society developed a hierarchical structure with the Spanish-born elite, known as the Peninsulares, at the top. The Criollos, those of Spanish descent but born in the Americas, formed a middle class. Below them were mestizos, people of mixed indigenous and European heritage, and at the bottom were the indigenous and enslaved populations. Fast forwards a few hundred years and the seeds of independence were sown as Paraguayans became increasingly discontent with Spanish colonial rule. Influenced by the ideas of the Enlightenment and inspired by the revolutions happening in neighboring countries, Paraguayans yearned for self-governance and freedom from external control. Leading the charge for independence were remarkable individuals like José Gaspar Rodríguez de Francia and later Carlos Antonio López. These visionary leaders recognized the importance of sovereignty and worked tirelessly to unite the people of Paraguay in their quest for independence. The momentous day finally arrived on May 14, 1811, when Paraguay declared its independence from Spain. This declaration marked the culmination of years of struggle and the birth of a new era for the Paraguayan people. However, Paraguay's fight for independence did not end with the Spanish. The Paraguayan War, also known as the War of the Triple Alliance, one of the bloodiest conflicts in South American history. It started due to a complex set of political, territorial, and economic factors, but let's try and break it down a bit. One of the key causes of the war was Paraguay's expansionist policies under President Francisco Solano López. Paraguay sought to assert its control over disputed territories, including parts of present-day Argentina and Brazil. Paraguay's success in developing its industries and reducing dependence on foreign trade created concerns among its neighbors, who feared the economic competition. The tension and conflicts eventually escalated into a full-scale war in 1864. Paraguay, under President López, faced the combined forces of Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay, which didn't turn out well for them. The Allied forces outnumbered and outmatched in terms of military resources. They possessed superior weaponry, larger AR&D, greater access to international support, which placed Paraguay at a significant disadvantage. The Paraguayan War was marked by brutal and protracted battles. The war's duration and intensity, coupled with the Triple Alliance's military advantage, resulted in staggering casualties. Tragically, it is estimated that up to 50% of Paraguay's male population lost their lives during the conflict, making it one of the deadliest wars in history in terms of relative population loss. President López, refusing to surrender, led his troops until the very end. He ultimately perished in the battle, symbolizing the tragic end of Paraguay's resistance. The loss of a significant number of men had repercussions on gender dynamics and family structures, with women taking on new roles and responsibilities. The war's impact on the indigenous population and cultural heritage was significant as well, as it further shaped Paraguay's cultural identity. Let's shift our focus to present-day Paraguay. The war has left a long-standing impact in many sectors of everyday life. After the devastating loss of male population during the Paraguayan War, Paraguay experienced a significant gender imbalance. Today, efforts have been made to address this imbalance, and the country has seen progress in achieving a more balanced gender ratio. Women have played a crucial role in the country's development, with increasing participation in politics, education, and the workforce. It is a relatively young country, with a median age of around 27 years and primarily composed of mestizos, individuals of mixed indigenous and European heritage. Where Paraguay really stands out is with its culture and language. As mentioned previously, the indigenous culture of Paraguay was not as assimilated as in other New World countries, and today is the only country in the Americas where the majority of the population speaks an indigenous language. Yup, you heard that right. Paraguay is a bilingual nation, with both Spanish and Guaraní recognized as official languages. Guaraní holds a unique status, being widely spoken by a significant portion of the population alongside Spanish. In fact, it is estimated that around 80 to 90% of Paraguayans are fluent in Guaraní. Beating the likes of other bilingual countries like Canada with French, Paraguay has made efforts to promote and integrate Guaraní into various aspects of society. In education, Guaraní is taught alongside Spanish in schools, allowing students to maintain and develop their proficiency in the language. There are also initiatives to publish books, newspapers, and magazines in Guaraní, ensuring its presence in the media landscape. The widespread use of Guaraní in everyday life, education, media, and cultural expressions is a testament to the enduring spirit of the Paraguayan people, and hopefully you were able to learn a bit about its beautiful and unusual history.